And hopefully we are live. I'll take a second to show up. Um, okay, this is a continuation of previous stream from just the other day with setting up emulated VAX here on the new machine. Got through with a little bit of difficulty because it looked like a session detached in the midst of it. Got through most of it, the VMS install, and ended up with uh, installing the basic compiler layered product. So this is going to be a continuation of that. So we'll install some layer products. Log into the zone and start the emulator. So not too much left to do in terms of the layered product installations. We got basic. Um, so I guess the next one would be C++. And interestingly enough, when I did my last install, I had some issues because if you install the C compiler before the C++ compiler, you run into some problems. So we will go in and install C++ first. Oh, so one of the things I want to do is take a look at the performance here. So do the benchmark, the standard VAX benchmark. We'll get the VUPs on there. So this is the base system here is a Core i7 9700K. I haven't used the K attributes of it. It's running at whatever it is, 4.6 gigahertz. Just take a look over here. Uh, that'll let it run. Still need to make it smaller. Handy little utility here called Power Top, which will let us see what's going on. So probably because we're idling, we're not hitting the max turbo there. So yeah, it's just sitting and idling most of the time because we're done here. So let's get this installed for the C++ compiler. And I can't type today. Give it the path here, right here. And we'll start to get the C compiler in. So after this, we'll switch over and we'll get the um, the script for, goodness, I can't think, need a sip of coffee. The script for doing VOPs brought in on the ANSI tape. So you can see how fast this is. And what we might do is after that, uh, see how fast it is when we build SimH with Clang. I don't know if that's at all interesting, but might be. So proceeding, let's see if we get a better, yes, we're using just a little bit of turbo here. And wonder if we switched off the idle. It is waiting. Let's see what's going on here. I'll use top. So yeah, it is not doing a whole lot. And of course we have no IO wait here, of course. We're not moving a whole lot of data here. Try that install again. Seem to have hung, but maybe I'm just not being patient enough. So restart the installation. Yeah, IVP. It's interesting as they say 10 to 40 minutes, and hopefully it'll be a lot faster than that. And switch back over, so a slight turbo. Um, so on to over here. While that's doing its thing, we'll take a look at the scripts directory. Don't know how much I have my license, but this is what we want here is the VOPs. And this came from, I think, the OpenVMS hobbyist message board. So um, does a loop, uh, does some activities inside, and we're going to get the results uh, at the end. So pretty straightforward. So we'll attach that in and load it up and see how it goes. What else can I do at the moment while we're waiting for that? Take a look at what other VMs we have. Not much going on here at the moment. I do see there's a Triblix, a Beehive instance, and FreeBSD 12. So looking at playing around with some of those, the latest Triblix has some cool stuff going on. And as I mentioned in the previous stream, probably going to do the um, trying to set up Triblix in what's called an Illumos branded zone, where you can run here on OmniOS just a different flavor of Illumos in a zone. So we could have a Triblix zone, which I think is a great feature. And I think will be super handy because Triblix has some great features. Again, I mentioned in the last stream my old server is going to become workstation, or maybe and a form factor machine is going to become my workstation desktop, and that will be getting triplets for sure on it. So this has taken a moment or two. Really hoping this would be faster, and we do have a few layered products to get through. Um, okay, we're finally getting somewhere. And once this is done, we'll attach the tape and get VUPs copied over. So yeah, this must be as interesting as watching paint dry as watching emulated VAX's complete software installs. Um, but I think this will be good to get the kind of complete set. So get all the layered products installed. Wonder if there is a little performance issue here because this is a really large kind of raw disk image. Should be able to do a CXX. Okay. We, we won't shut it down. Um, what we're going to do is get back to the simulator. Okay. This will take a hot second to get in here, but it should be pretty straightforward. Okay. I don't have TS0 attached to anything, so we'll need to attach that. And using the ANSI functionality is just fantastic. This guy over here. Put him here. And we'll mount the tape. Get upscot down. Well, that's not good. Hmm. Looks complete. Try to run it. So 47 VUPs. Not terribly good. See if we can improve that. And if while we're running this, yeah, so now looking at it, we're actually getting up to our design turbo frequency here of roughly 4.6 gigahertz. And it's going to drop back down. We got 47.2 VOPs. Uh, what I'm going to do is shut this thing down. We're going to rebuild with Clang and see if we can do any better. I hope we can. So on the old AMD 8350 system, we're getting 30 something VOPs. So this is still an improvement, right? That's like 38, right? So we're 10, called a little bit over 25% improvement. Um, clean that up and go and build this here. And it looks like I need to pull some stuff out of the make file so Clang stops griping at me. Because it, of course, does run path versus -r um, for its argument there. Let's see if we're any faster here. So last go round we were 47 VOPs. We're now 53. So Clang 10, probably the winner here. That is just one benchmark, but not a bad one. So let's get back to installing the layered products. I guess next is the C compiler. And continue on. So we've got C compiler. It looks like we got Fortran. Don't know if I want to put COBOL compiler on there. I don't think I'd ever use that. Dexet, I pulled a script. I haven't tested this yet, but it came from HPE. If you're in the hobbyist program, you download all these sets, and I don't know. Let me know if you had a similar experience. But the Dexet kit was um, not able to be installed, right? So it had some corruption. And I tried playing around with a couple stuff when I did this a couple years back. Now I have a script that hopefully will do the fixing of the save set. I don't know if that'll work. We'll see. Check back over at our frequencies here. So I'm really beginning to wonder if I should have made the the emulated disk here a ZVol. Maybe things are hanging on I/O a little bit, but no matter. Where's my directory here? Hopefully C goes a little bit faster than and what did I not? CC, of course. I don't think my terminal is set up correctly. These things, you really want a real VT100. or as close to an emulation as possible. Um, and I'm using console here just because I like the setup and tab system, but it doesn't work quite as well as Xterm on some things. Yeah, I definitely want PostScript versions of the manuals and to run the IVP. So again, to recap that benchmark, I am notably impressed of the difference between GCC 9 and Clang 10 in this case. That we would see such a large difference in performance, right? So 47 to 53, let's call that another almost 20%. Um, and that's not even with trying to optimize it at all. That's just with the standard build options. And of course, this is Lumos, so the compiler, CPU, operating system mix may have some effect, but something like an emulator is going to be essentially all user time. So things like, you know, operating systems don't mean as much, right? Obviously, it has to do file system access here and there, um, but it's not going to be as huge an impact as something like, say, a database, perhaps, right? So after C, like I said, Fortran. Where's my list of layered products? Fortran Dexat, maybe? I don't know. Never really done anything in COBOL, so can't really. And definitely TCP/IP. Might as well do Pascal. So we'll do Pascal, Fortran, and Dexat, and then do TCP. I think that'll be um, a nice setup here for what we need to do. Um, Down the road here, not in the scope of this stream, because again, I've got, what is this, 38 minutes left before I got to start cooking manicottis. Um, Next up will probably be messing around with DeckNet. So give this guy uh, some presence on DeckNet and also the emulated alpha, also on the same host. See about internet working them. Uh, See how DeckNet behaves over things like ether stubs, and play around a little bit with the networking. Uh, if I could be any more of a fanboy for Illumos, I will mention that Crossbow is fantastic. Makes a lot of this networking for virtualization painless. Um, Other thing, and do leave a comment if you have any thoughts, is for the NAS purposes, I am probably going to be upgrading to 10 gigabit Ethernet. So this host with the storage, workstation, and then of course off to the switch for everything else would have 10 gig Ethernet in the ideal world. So I have little experience with it, but if you guys know of any good NICs that are reliable and hopefully not too expensive, and money is tight these days, that'll do a reliable 10 gig, um, even just for the point-to-point between the workstation and this to be able to do uh, really fast network attached storage, so I can keep the workstation stuff all here. NFS, obviously. Do let me know. So another tactical error here is I should have done TCP first, um, and then we could have logged in on another view here. Um, Gotten another session into this machine while we did these installations. I don't know why I'm doing TCP later. Um, who knows? We're back here. So we just got Fortran and Pascal and Dexat TCP. I think that should do us. Um, okay. To reset, unzip after every install. So what do we want? Fortran. We don't have Pascal. Yeah, we got Pascal here. I'll probably skip Pascal just in interest of time. We can go back and do that. Do want to do Dexet and TCP and Motif. Um, F77, and here we are. Pretty sure that requires an absolute path, or I just put the. Just trying to guess the name of the layered product from. And it is not F77. Okay, it's Fortran version 66. Okay, so that is. So the C++ compiler, you didn't need a version. The C compiler, you didn't need a version. Fortran, so instead of being CXX or CC, makes sense. My brain would go to F77 for the kit name, but I don't know. OpenVMS is all a little oddball. The other thing that's going to be coming up here is to do RT11 5.7, I think. I have install media for RT11 5.7, which would be uh, pretty cool. And I think we can get networking working for that. I don't know. RSX11 might be another fun one to do networking wise. So, okay, so we're here in, what was that, 30 seconds? And we've already done what should have been 7 minutes on a VAX Station 4060. So obviously pretty fast. And some of that is just that this thing can do, I don't know, 50, 100 megabytes a second, where let's just say you had a SCSI drive on your VAX Station, it could only do a fraction of that. So the I/O is certainly faster. The CPU is probably about the same speed, the emulated CPU. We also have a lot more memory here. So it's Fortran. Next up is Dexet, and then TCP and Motif. And we'll have a fully working VMS environment. And I don't know, I might get wacky and install COBOL later. Do leave a comment if you've had any experience with COBOL. And whereas I have some experience with, say, Fortran, going back all the way to the 90s, no exposure to COBOL. Previous company I worked, someone had built some software in COBOL, and I found that bizarre on a number of levels. They had a system, COBOL, with weird file-based databases running on SCO, um, which was just so oddball. And it was this kind of antique thing. And we, of course, had our big grid system, Solaris, and just a different environment. There are two things to accomplish roughly the same goal on different scale. So what did I say? We're going to do Dexet next, right? So And please bear in mind, I am a quite a novice in terms of OpenVMS, and that's why some of these things that might make sense to someone more familiar with OpenVMS, like why my, uh, I guess, alias for unzip keeps getting removed after. Maybe that's because I'm using a not absolute path here. Um, so that might be a possibility. So where we have deck set. So this is dropping it into a subdirectory. Okay. But one of the reasons here to run OpenVMS, and it probably won't be on this one, is it has some nifty security features, right? Even if it's a little older, once it's got SSL, and you can be using the multinet or TCP-ware, which might get layered on top of this one. One of the goals here is to kind of get this base done with this 18 gig drive with everything on it, and take this base image and then clone it, right? So this is currently VAX 0, and if we go over here, so we can see it's VAX 0 SimH, and so this is now as a zone, so I can just go and clone the zone and edit a couple things in the configuration on the VMS side. I have toyed with the idea, and if you make it to this part of the stream, kind of like how in say OmniOS here, or any of the Illumos, the brand types have certain configurations, certain software set installed, is to create a SimH brand so that it would become able to do system stand up much like you would with, say, Beehive, right? Or KVM. I don't know how much use that would have, but maybe just take a video looking at how these brands work. So, change directory to .a. Yes, this is the same problem I had before. So, okay, that's not mounted. Let's go back and attach TS0. TS0, yeah. ANSI VMS and get our fix save set script. Hmm. Take a look here. Okay, fix save set. That should work. Ah, dash F. Copy this guy over. Let's do this individually. D, F, G. Weird. And K. So we tried fixing all the save sets there. I don't know. I mean, this is, again, I'm a VMS novice to do the single character wildcard. I'll try this again. And that seemed to work. So some random save set fixing script found online seemed to do the trick. Oh, do I want all the... I guess I want all the deck set components. No. No, I do not want all the components. Yeah, I think I do want language sensitive analyzer. Don't want code management system. Don't want digital test manager. Get the performance. Yes, I definitely want MMS, and that's the equivalent of make. Let's get the cookbook. I'm not constrained by free space, and we do want we'll do the VMS LSE. Yeah, the military languages and basic definitely. Bliss, C. We'll just do yes for all these. I'm just accepting the defaults here. So hopefully this will go by pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. I got 22 minutes left. We'll see how far we can get. No idea this was going to take hours. But I guess doing it live has some advantages, disadvantages. Do let me know if you prefer to see these things pre-recorded or live. Um, I never pulled up the chat window now, so let me pull that up. But yeah, if there is some value in interacting, also if there's some interest in doing uh, any questions and answers, just a live stream to uh, interact, and I can talk about some random list of stuff. I don't know, maybe that'll be valuable. This is coming along pretty well. Hopefully we'll complete relatively shortly. And we'll see where we are at. Yeah, so it's not doing too much CPU work. We are decompressing. It'd be nice to be able to do the save set decompression elsewhere, and then pull it over here. Oh, once we get TCP installed, we will be able to put um, NFS on here, and that may work a little bit better for some of these operations. So one of the things I haven't done yet is to do all the put all the startup scripts, so all the DCL startup into the main system startup. Do that later. Probably doesn't need to be put on here, but hopefully that will put all the aliases and logicals into the right place. So I should have fixed the source code analyzer. It went and created some accounts. So that's another thing for another day, is to lock this down. Hopefully the cookbook won't take too long at all. Get that in place, and we can go on for TCP and get that configured. Well, that's an issue. So I guess I should have put motif in first and set up the terminal display. So we could have gotten the installation verification procedure to finish. So go back here, and we're going to get TCP thrown in. Hmm. That is not giving me the product installation I would expect, but let's see. Oh, that's, yeah, before I got the DOA3, let's, okay, we'll just pull it from here. Unzip this. Yeah, so this is one of the areas where VMS is bizarre. It's this guy here, right? It's because, the file system is not case sensitive. I always think it is. Although later on you could have in ODS 5, which is what's on the alpha, it is case sensitive. But this file exists here, right? Is it because it's a truncated file name? I don't know. It's so bizarre. I don't know what to make of that. So now that works. So we'll put TCP, which is 2. And I like the, what is it, the PCSI packages versus the save set packages, as it gives a nice progress indicator. That's actually handy. So, upcoming stuff here. I don't know, see about getting some open source stuff um, on this machine. Maybe doing a clone of it. Maybe even trying to actually clone the disk VMS wise. So, copy the boot over to another disk. We can make a smaller disk once we have this kind of master disk, and then try to tailor things down. So some areas to play with here. But getting networking set up will be the first step here. So it'll be a little bit easier to bring things in. Although I really do like SimH now has the ANSI VMS tape um, to be brought in. Makes it super handy to bring in text files, especially. You can also do binaries, but it has a size limit. Um, I think I accidentally attached it in the wrong place and was trying to bring in a whole DVD of stuff, and it did not like that. So we are almost done here with TCP. Let's see how it goes. Let's configure it while we're here. We're on the homeland. Uh, let's try DHCP. Let's see if I can get a lease. Did it actually pull up an IP? I don't know. Go back to QE0 here. I'll do routing. No, it's not a gateway. Yes, we do want a default route. Give it a name. What's in the name table? Okay. Exit that menu and we want an FTP client. Yeah, why not an FTP server too? NFS client. And we want telnet. Let's start it up. Okay, here is where we got to do something. I forget what this is. So do bear with me just a second. I kind of look at. Okay, we're going to have to edit some files. Okay. So we want the system directory. And make sure I'm a VT100. Okay. We want to add some global pages. $15,000 should be good. I want to add global sections. 200 global sections. Sorry, I'm referring to my old notes. Oh, we don't need that. I don't think. Um, okay. INT ranges equals, give it 20. And we want to increase the non-page pool. We do. I think that's good. Wrote that we got to do the autogen. So this is going to be a. So you hear me humming and hawing because I actually have to refer to a note here. I am unfamiliar with the autogen process. That completes quickly. I think we'll be out of the woods and can get TCP going. See how that goes. And yeah, I got 6 minutes left, so hopefully we get it done in 6 minutes. Mouth's getting a little dry. Gotta have a sip of water. Again, we're going to become 2 hours in, and we're not quite done yet. Again, some of that is me humming and hawing and not being totally prepared. I do apologize. Let's get it booted. Now, one of the other things I'm thinking of doing with this machine is it wouldn't apply too much here. We can't push data fast enough, but adding another pool because I saw there's some really cheap SATA SSDs out there. Uh, and then possibly even, I don't know if I have enough memory to make use of it, but adding a level 2 ARC. I don't know. It'd be nice to have this, something like this, a whole emulated disk image fit there. And I'll just do this guy here. Let's see if we can start it up. So DHCP may have been a mistake. I don't know if I have the VNix set correctly for. And yeah, so TCP is working. And so we're 42. Let's see if we can connect over there. And let's pull up the system monitor. And I think this will wrap it up for today once we bring up the system monitor. Because as I said, it is time to start cooking some manicottis. Dinner time. Pretty cool. So that's, I guess, almost complete, right? So we're gonna have to do some user management, maybe add a user drive for all the files to sit at. I really appreciate everyone who's been watching the stream. Uh, Helps keep it interesting while I'm playing around with this stuff. And as always, do drop a comment if there's something in particular you'd like to see. Um, so again, thank you, and hopefully it won't be too long before the next one here.